Welcome, everybody, to the Padres live stream today. We're going to be talking about the Padres and the Braves, doing a quick little preview, and we have a guest on, McConna. Me and McConna are co-hosts for a podcast called The Football Diary, and McConna is a Braves fan. McConna, you want to tell everyone how you became a Braves fan? Because I love the story.
It is a funny story. I've only watched, I guess now it's 1.5 years of baseball. I've been a fan of baseball, and last year I knew Matt was a Padres fan, and I was talking with him, and I was like, you know what, this pandemic, it's getting rough. I want to get into baseball because it's the first sport that's going to come back. I really want to watch it, and I have no idea what team to pick. I used to always say I was a Rockies fan, but I can honestly say I don't think I ever watched a Rockies baseball game in my entire life. That was the name of like my random middle school baseball team that I was on in like PE and stuff like that. And it was what I was like, I need a team. I want to find a team that's fun to watch. And so Matt, can you help me out? And he was like, yeah, sure. You should be a fan of the Padres. And I said, now, Matt, calm down. I know about the Matt Keimer curse, meaning no team Matt roots for has ever had any success. I will not join that group of people that has to suffer because of Matt. So I refused to be a Padres fan. And I wanted to be, my favorite player was Vladdy. I don't even know why. Like, I didn't even watch the home run derby when he was going against Pete Alonso and everything like that. I just liked him. I like the big guys that swing the bat hard. And I was like, yeah, I want to be a Blue Jays fan. And Matt was like, no, terrible idea. You should not be a fan of the Blue Jays. Just no future, not going to be good at all. Like, just don't. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was just going through teams. I really liked pinstripes on the uniforms, and they just kept not being any teams. And I was like, you know what? I like Ozzy Albies. What about the Braves? And I was like, yeah, they could be okay. They got a good young guy in Acuna. And obviously last year it was a lot of fun watching them. For the first time watching baseball, I got to see Freeman win the MVP, and I got to see Acuna really take over. And so that's been a lot of fun. But thanks for having me on. I got to say, y'all have some great graphics, great logo, great backdrop, great everything. It looks very good. Looks very good.
Oh, really? Wonder who those came from. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, McConna has done like pretty much a lot of our setup on here. So credit to him for doing all that stuff. But gonna be a fun series. Isaac, you want to preview the starting pitching for the Padres this series? I think we got Darvish and two unknowns.
I'm pretty sure the last one against Charlie Morton will be Chris Paddock. So, who knows how that one's going to go. We've seen Chris Paddock is kind of rocky, but this is Yu Darvish's first start in a little while. He did come out with an injury not that long ago. So it's going to be important to see how Yu Darvish does today because, who knows how he reacted to that injury. Who knows how he's feeling today. I think, in my opinion, what I want to see from Yu Darvish is at least 5 strong innings, if not 6. Which, I think is going to be important to get out of someone because we haven't gotten a quality start since July 2nd, which, that's a really long time. I'm sure maybe every other team in baseball has probably gotten a quality start from their starting rotation ever since. So, hopefully Yu Darvish is that guy today and Chris Paddock is that guy in a couple of days. Chris Paddock did have kind of a rough outing against the Nationals. Maybe not a rough outing. I think every starter of ours gave up 4 runs. But, this is kind of his chance to bounce back. And he's not the kind of guy that's going to pitch shutout innings against the lineup like the Braves. Even without Acuna, the Braves still have a decent lineup. So I think 2 or 3 runs from Paddock should be expected, should be, the goal here. And I don't know who's going to start that middle game. I was looking at Bleacher Report earlier. If anyone knows, comment it in the comment section. I have a question for Sports Lights. You asked, is the game getting delayed? And I'm curious why, is there a reason it might be getting delayed?
I'm guessing it's got to be because of rain, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
McConna, have the Braves been at home lately?
They were at home against the Rays, but there were no delays or anything like that. So
okay, I'll update it right now. What about the Braves pitching, McConna? Because I know you guys actually have 3 starters scheduled.
Yeah, we got 3 starters. How good the starters are. One of them not good whatsoever. But tonight it's supposed to be Kyle Muller. Luckily, he's a lefty. He's meh. He's a meh pitcher. The only really actually decent pitcher that the Braves have pitching is Charlie Morton, who's pitching the 3rd game. He's the only one that's had real success. I'm really scared to watch. I believe his first name is Tukey Toussaint. He's got an 8.8 ERA, and I'm very afraid to watch him pitch against the greatness of all those Padres batters, led by Eric Hosmer. So I'm very afraid. I'm very afraid. I'm a big Hosmer fan. Very afraid for that middle game pitching wise.
Yeah, so apparently I'm not even going to comment on that. Apparently the middle game, or all the games could actually be delayed. It's raining pretty bad right now, so it doesn't really look like there's even going to be a game today. And then it's also raining until Thursday, so I don't know what they'll do. I mean, I think they play 2 series against each other, like one in Atlanta, one in San Diego.
San Diego, yeah.
I mean, that's usually how other NL teams go. So, that'd be brutal. I mean, I want to watch some baseball tonight. That kind of sucks. I had my night planned out for this, so
did I.
That's a bummer if that's the case. But I mean, still, like you said, hopefully the Padres can capitalize on against the Braves pitching. I think this is a big series for the Padres, actually. And McConnell, I know you don't want to hear it, but the Braves they're beat up. I think you were even a little bit surprised by the Jock trade, just because it seemed like, okay, time to kind of maybe take a step back and refuel a little bit next year. And they went and traded for Jock after the Acuna injury. What were your thoughts on that trade?
Yeah, I was shocked when I saw that trade go through. I mean, I texted you, Matt. Matt texted me, like the day after the day Acuna tore his ACL, and he was like, "Man, the Padres are in such a bad spot." I was like, "Man, shut up, man." Acuna just went down with maybe a career-altering injury, but my expectation was that they were going to try and tank. They had seemingly been trying to get on runs, and they had just gotten kind of decimated by the Pirates in a series, and it really didn't look very good. Man, why are you putting that up on the screen, man? You still got my Ravens too? Oh man. I was very surprised by it, but the Braves this year with their outfielders are all new guys. They had obviously Marcell Ozuna. He's no longer there. Then Acuna's out. And so it was like, I think it was less of a, hey, we need to contend, and more of a, hey, we need a guy there that we can put, and potentially if the rest of the team can get going, if Freddie can get going, it's not like they're not in your division, so they can actually catch the Mets. They're only 4 games back of the Mets when it happened. I believe they were only 3 games behind the Mets. So it's something that they're seemingly trying to make a push for the playoffs. Jock, he's been okay. He's hit 1 home run. That's pretty much, and I believe he's hit a double, gotten some RBIs. So I like the move. They traded a guy batting like 205 in single A. So it's not like they're missing out on some major prospect that they traded to the Cubs. So I like the move, but I was very shocked by it.
Isaac, what do you think about it?
The Jock trade?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they gave up a lot. I'm pretty sure Jock is like a half-year rental, so obviously the Braves are and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty positive he is a half-year rental though. So obviously the Braves still think they're in it. I actually do still think they're in it too. Like you said, they're not in the NL West. They're still, they're still within reaching distance from the Mets. So, obviously the Acuna injury is very detrimental to, no matter what squad he's on. He's one of the best players, one of the most electric players in baseball, easily one of my favorite players to watch. I love watching Ronald Acuna, and it's really unfortunate that he's going to be out this year. He has had a lot of injuries, and when that injury happened, I was kind of like, I think he'll be back, probably 10-day IL stint, and then he'll be back. I was way wrong about that, which is very unfortunate. But in terms of that Jock trade, last I checked, he was batting around 230. The good thing for you guys is that Jock kind of has a history of, damaging the Padres, hurting the Padres, because he has a good track record against the Padres, and from what I remember. So overall, Jock Peterson's not really a household name, but he is a name to be known around the league. Everybody knows about him. He's had decent years in the past, maybe not in terms of average, but he's a really good power hitter, and he's definitely a really serviceable outfielder. So, there's not many there's no one. I don't think there's an outfielder that can really replace what Acuna does. But in terms of replacement options, Jock is probably one of them that I'd have confidence in. Not much, but I would have a bit of confidence in.
Yeah, I think for a team like the Padres, the Braves could have gone and went after a guy like Gallo or maybe a different like marquee outfielder. I would probably guess that if they were going to go like swing for the fences this year, they probably would have gone after probably Chris Bryant, like a half-year rental guy, because they're not going to try to replace. I mean, maybe they do. They could have gone after a longer-term option just because Zuna is Zuna ever going to play again? Probably not.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. So you're probably not going to see Azuña. I don't know. The Braves are kind of in a weird spot, but they were. I want to ask you this, McConaughey, because I've always thought this is an amazing idea, an amazing thing that could happen. Do you think there's a chance that Freddie Freeman leaves the Braves in free agency and ends up becoming a Padre? Because we've seen how much his son loves the Padres and specifically loves Fernando Tatis. Do you think there's a chance?
I think that there is a chance that he does leave. Now, I think one of the biggest reasons why they brought in Jock Peterson was to say, hey, come on, Freddie, we want to try and win with you, because this is the last year with Freddie, and there were so many questions about whether or not he'd get re-signed, after last season, after blowing a 3-1 lead to the Dodgers, and then, coming out this year. And he really started out and he struggled. It was very similar to what he did last year. He started to come on late and they were like, hey, Freddie's coming on. We've lost Acuna, but hey, maybe we can get into the playoffs and keep Freddie for, get him to sign an extension to stay in Atlanta. But I am concerned that he is going to leave. And, whether or not that's to the Padres, I don't think they want to replace Hosgod. But, we'll see what they want to do. We'll see what they want to do. But yeah, I think the Padres would want him. Whether or not he wants the Padres, I don't think his son being a fan of Fernando Tatis is a major impact in his decision. I don't think that plays a major role, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think about the nickname Hosgod? I think that needs to be the nickname. It's not Cronengod, it's Hosgod.
Cronengod, baby. That's our guy. That's been our guy for a long time. Love that guy. When it comes to Freddie Freeman, though, like as much as I'd like to have him, and it's not even like a cap space issue in my opinion. It's more like because the Padres are willing to go into the luxury tax. They've said it before. They're willing to go into the luxury tax. I don't know what his contract will look like, but the Padres have said it before. They will go into the luxury tax the way that the Dodgers have, and that's obviously a good thing. That's their commitment to winning. Now, when it comes to Freddie Freeman, though, as much as I'd love to have him, I can't see him on any other team but the Braves. Like, I think it'd be good to him to stay with the Braves, mostly because, like, yeah, they're having a down year, but they're not going anywhere. Acuna, like, even though he went down with an ACL injury, he is easily still a top 5 player in baseball. He is electric. He's going to come back and he's going to be better than ever. He's going to train and he's got that hunger to become one of the highest paid players in baseball. And I absolutely think he's gonna come back and he's gonna prove why he's the best outfielder in baseball. So the Braves aren't going anywhere. They could still have Freeman, Albies, and Acuna, and that'd be, that's still gonna be one of the best trios in baseball. I understand, Freddie might be on the older side. He's 31 right now, so who knows what's going to happen with him? I don't know what his contract is going to look like. I think he should stay with the Braves. Max Fried is still there. They're still going to have a decent pitching rotation, but I'm excited to see what's going on with the Braves because I like the Braves as a team, and I'm a huge Acuna fan.
Yeah, I mean, I would love Freddie there, and I'm seeing some concerns from Borna in here saying that the Padres don't have $75 million to throw Freddie's way. I think the big thing that would have to happen is Hosmer would be traded. That's the obvious issue there. But Borna also put the infield of Machado, Tatis, Abrams, Cronenworth at first, so you would have Abrams at second. I actually have, and we've talked about this before, but I like putting Abrams in the outfield if they would do that, because if you ended up putting Abrams in left or right, like, and you have Grish in center, and if your other outfielder is pretty fast, like, you can basically have like the equivalent of 3 center fielders in terms of speed, where you're just covering so much ground. I know a couple teams done that in the past. I want to say the Astros kind of did that a few years back, and it worked out really well for them. But I always like that. Yeah, I would rather keep Cronenworth at second.
Yeah, he's
And
nasty at second.
that's why, like, in my mind, like, he's such a good second baseman. So,
Yeah.
and also my other kind of like caveat with this move is that it would be more of like Freeman going there for like a year, like almost like ring chasing a little bit. That's kind of where I'm at. But that's kind of where I'm on these guys. Any questions from anyone? Let's see. If the Padres get Kepler, possibly like if the Twins sell him, Padres could get him, be a possible starter. Let's see. Okay, Padres getting Max Kepler. What do you think about that, Isaac? No?
He's an outfielder, right?
Yeah.
Nowhere to put him.
Yeah,
Tommy Pham is playing absolutely insane right now. Trent Grisham is a gold glove center fielder, and Will Myers is locked up in the books. Which, relating to Borna's question, CJ, like I said, this outfield's kind of locked up. CJ's too young right now. And I brought it up before. He was very successful in spring training, but there's a lot of guys that are successful in spring training. He did get a home run off Trevor Bauer, so that was encouraging to see, but no real need for CJ right now. No real need for outfield help right now, considering there's a lot of guys that, Will Myers is hot right now. Trent Grisham he's going to get hot eventually. Tommy Pham is absolutely on fire. Jerkson Profar, he's starting to find his groove a little bit off the bench, and he's a decent outfield option. Maybe not defensively, but he's a good fill-in. So we do need outfield help, but I don't think Kepler is going to be that guy.
Oh, here's a good one. Do you see Gore coming up before the playoffs?
Yeah.
I hope so.
I do. AJ Preller actually had an interview recently, and it was that it was about how he's hoping that Mackenzie Gore can come up soon. Remember, his ETA was 2021, so I absolutely do see him coming up before the playoffs. What do you think, Matt?
I think there's a good chance that it happens. I also think that I know a lot of people, and I'm not saying I want this to happen by any means, but I don't know. I think there's a larger chance that I think a lot of people are willing to accept that Mackenzie Gore could be traded. And
Yeah.
I don't like that idea. Like I would much rather them figure it out with Mackenzie Gore. But if they do really believe that they can't fix him as a player, then it makes sense to move him. So like if that's where they're at now, we have no idea how to tell that. So that's kind of where I'm at there. Another question. Yeah.
One more thing about Mackenzie Gore. The reason he brings up that whole trade stuff, we just saw a report that he was throwing 89 to 91 on his fastball. Not very encouraging. So while I do think there is a chance that we see him up soon, there's also that chance that he's either gone or just not ready for another year.
Then another couple questions. Greg here said that they need pitching help before Gallo. That's definitely true. I think we all agree with that. And then Borna also asked, why doesn't AJ trade for Maeda already? It will cost nothing. We can conduct that trade in 3 minutes. Just give him Jorge and Rosario.
Absolutely.
I think that it should happen soon. And I was also, maybe like a week ago, I said I would have liked them to make a move before they play the Nationals. I think the problem is that the draft was so late. So guys don't want to, like, teams that are selling guys don't want to trade them now if they're like, well, I might be able to get this other team, but they're still on the fence if they want to, make a move for like Maeda, for instance. And so they're just waiting because they don't have, like, there's less incentive to trade early July, mid-July than past years. So it really just put the Padres in a terrible spot. McConnell, I haven't talked to you in a second now. But I don't know if you know, but the Padres have been like really detrimented by injuries in terms of pitching. So basically, like, the big issue right now is that like they have no arms. So that's kind of where a lot of these questions are coming from. Kyle Crick. Do either of you guys know Kyle Crick? I do not know him. Okay, someone's asking if we should claim him off of waivers. I don't know enough about him to say anything on him.
Mm-mm.
Someone else said they're just afraid the other teams will grab the players we're looking at. Yeah, that's definitely the scary part. And that's the other thing is, like, the Padres have a lot of guys in their farm that they don't want to move. Hopefully a Mackenzie Gore. Definitely a CJ Abrams. Don't think they want to move Hassel. Definitely don't think they want to move Lange anymore. I mean, his debut in the minor leagues was terrific. So I definitely think that that's where they're at. I'll shift to McConnell for a little bit, and keep asking Padre questions too. But McConnell, what other moves do you think the Braves are going to do?
I mean, one of the biggest things. I mean, they also made another move that really went under the wire, under the kind of media talking about, because it wasn't for a big name player. Obviously, they traded for Jacques Peterson, but they also made a trade for a catcher, which is very smart because they lost Darno, and they've been really struggling at the spot. And he came in and his he played his debut yesterday. He came over from the Diamondbacks. He had a 3-hit game. Drove in 2 runs, or drove in I think 4 runs. He had 2 runs himself, and that's a move that I really like from them. But if they're going to make a move, my expectation would be that it's for pitching. They've really struggled with pitching this year. Their offense, yes, it has been a bit rough. However, I think that it's just because they have a lot of young players, but their key assets, the Swansons, the pre-injury Acuna, the Freddie Freeman, the Ozzie Albies, the Smiths, the Rileys, like those guys, they've been decent. It's just being able to connect it all together, which has been happening recently. It's just taken a very long time for them to actually get up to being able to play consistent baseball. So the really only need I see is pitching. But again, I wasn't expecting them to be trying to get better. I was expecting them to honestly be trading away assets. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if they had traded Freddie. I really wouldn't have been surprised.
Do you think there's any chance they do that now? Like, because keep in mind, like, you can always trade for Jock and then trade him away 2 weeks later. Like, you could do that. Do you think there's any chance that they do that, or like would it probably require a massive losing streak?
Yeah, I don't think so. Just because they kind of it's just one of those things where he's so important to that organization. I mean, he's the cornerstone piece, the biggest cornerstone piece since like Chipper. So you look at that and it doesn't make sense for them to trade him, especially after they seemingly made that commitment to him by making that trade for Jock. So I don't think that makes much sense for them to do it. But if they hadn't traded for Jock and they talked with him and were like, hey, do you want to, contend this year? And he said, yeah, then they might have traded him. But I don't think they trade him anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that all makes sense. Isaac got a couple trades. Mateo for some Spider Tack. Tyler Duffy from the Twins. Danny Duffy for Rosario. I don't know. I like Danny Duffy. Chase isn't on today, but Chase loves Danny Duffy. That's like the guy that he really wants the Padres to go after. Him and Alcantara. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Someone sent some trade ideas to you. Were they good? There was a couple that we liked. One of them was there was a Danny Duffy trade that we liked in there. And there was maybe it was a bullpen move. I forget. There's another one. Do you remember that article that got sent to us, Isaac?
I do. I forget what trades they were. Let me see if I can pull it up. You can keep talking. I'll see if I can pull it up right now, though.
All right, we got a list of bullpen arms that the Padres could go after: Taylor Rogers, Tyler Duffy, Paul Fry, Cesar Valdez, and maybe Kimbrel. I think that Kimbrel's a long shot, and I think a lot of people recognize that too. Like all the guys up top, definitely think Paul Fry, Taylor Rogers, Cesar Valdez are potential guys. I don't think that I think it'll be like more of like a middle tier closer than like a Craig Kimbrel or like a Rossio Iglesias, like guys like that. I don't think that they'll get moved. And also we're big advocates of moving to Nelson Lamet to become a closer, even though some people feel like that's wasting him. I think it just saves his career.
Save him for next year, you maybe get him something in the offseason to get him better. If he needs Tommy John over the offseason, so be it. But you can't waste the kind of talent that Nelson Lamet has. I see Born said Kyle Gibson is kind of his guy. Kyle Gibson's my guy too, at least for this year, because his numbers prior to this year were shaky. But this year I'd love to have Kyle Gibson. And I actually found all the trades that they're talking about. So here's the first one. Padres acquire right-handed pitchers Kyle Wright and Jacob Webb from Braves for infielders Igor Rosario and right-handed pitcher Trey Wigginton. And this is all about depth. While I would love to have some depth, the Padres aren't really in a need I mean, I guess they need depth, but they also need guys that can go 5, 6, 7 solid outings, which is why Gibson and Duffy are, well, not Duffy. Duffy's kind of like a better Blake Snell, but Gibson's on my radar. What do you think of that one, Matt?
Can you say it one more time? The other side.
From the Braves?
Yeah.
Oh, we can talk about this with McConnell too. So we get Kyle Wright and Jacob Webb for Igor Rosario and Trey Wigginton.
So I'll give you Rosario is a small second baseman, kind of scrappy guy, gets on base, good fielder. And Trey Wigginton is a guy that throws heat. Reliever hasn't had great success in the league coming off of an injury, but definitely has flashed some potential.
I mean, interesting. The second baseman is tough because the infield from the Braves is pretty set with Ozzie and Dansby. Making that a bit difficult. However, it's just whether or not the Braves are looking to, because I really like. Wait, who was the pitcher that was offered? I forgot who it was.
It was Jacob Webb.
Okay.
And Kyle Wright.
Okay, and Kyle Wright. Yeah, I like Kyle Wright. I don't know how, I don't listen to a lot of other Braves shows, so I don't know how other Braves fans feel about Kyle Wright. I like Kyle Wright. If the Braves really want to make a push, I don't see them making the trade. However, if they want to subtly not make the playoffs, and like push Freeman out, like they could absolutely make that trade and see what they could do if possibly, moving Austin Riley or something like that off third base and maybe shifting somebody over there. But I just don't see really the move, why the Braves would go for, an infielder when they already got, their whole infield kind of set.
Yeah, that seems like their strength.
Yeah.
Right.
Before you say the next one, Isaac, I want to bring up this because we kind of talked about this. Well, actually, you weren't in the episode, Isaac. It was just me and Chase. But we were talking about at catcher. It's kind of a weird spot because Nola's coming back, but we don't know how much Nola's actually going to be able to catch. And Nola and Hosmer could potentially platoon at first, and then we could add another catcher and then have Caratini be the backup. I think that Greg also just commented about Campusano not being called up because they're worried that he's not going to hit in the majors and it might affect his trade value. I think you're spot on with that. The problem is, ideally, that's why you want to call Campy up.
Yeah.
Like you want him to come up and be the hitting catcher when Nola's not there. They haven't done that this year. To me, that's pretty concerning. But what do you think about that? If Nola's not able to play catcher and he's like a first base platoon, does that mean that the Padres need to go after a catcher, or would you just say call Campy up and kind of roll the dice?
There's too much we have to give up right now in order to get 2 starting pitchers. Honestly, yes, catcher is a worry, but we have bigger worries on this team considering we need quality starting pitching and maybe some depth help. I think the best scenario would be to call up Campy. At the plate, he did have some hard hit balls earlier this year. He just wasn't getting very lucky. But man, catching, he's not very good. I'll admit that. He doesn't call very good games. But I think the best option would be to bring up Campusano. Because like I said, we need to acquire 2 starting pitchers. And that's why for me, Joey Gallo I don't think he should be off the radar, but he should take a little bit of a backseat because we have so much pitching needs. So a lot of pitching needs, whether that's in the bullpen or the starting rotation that, we're going to have to give up prospects for.
Yeah, at least initially. Do you want to keep going through those trades though?
Yeah. The next one was for Andrew Miller. I just forgot who the other. So we'd be giving up Parker Markell for Andrew Miller. If that's the trade, sign me up immediately. I've always been a huge Andrew Miller fan. I don't know what his numbers look like this year, but if we're giving up someone like Parker Markell, who supposedly in this article is a former Rays prospect who's been pitching for the Padres AAA team and has a 6.43 ERA, I don't know if this is what it would take to get Andrew Miller, but if it is, yes, please.
Yeah, reliever for pennies on the dollar. I'll take that.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with all the innings that the relievers have pitched. So I like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
You got some other comments. Ideally, we could call Campy up, but just don't know if we can trust him in the playoffs yet. And you're saying don't trust him in the playoffs defensively. I don't know if we can trust him offensively or defensively. We just haven't seen we haven't seen the offense. I would bank on him being able to hit in the majors. But defensively, yeah, definitely concerns there.
Mm-hmm. So the next one was for Danny Duffy, and it was.
And what does he have? What does he have us giving up?
Mason Field and Lake Bakar. I don't know how to say that.
I feel like it'd have to be more than that.
It'd have to be more. Yeah, it would have to be more.
I mean, I like Danny Duffy.
Yeah, I like Danny Duffy. It's just for what price? Because I like other guys more than I like Danny Duffy.
Yeah, like I think Maeda is a similar kind of move, and I would probably rather go with Maeda just because
cheaper.
If you look at Maeda's trend, like Maeda's been great, like his last like 10 starts.
Definitely.
And we were actually talking about some Padres guys and just how they've, their numbers have been slipping a little bit today. And that's not Maeda at all. Like Maeda is doing the exact opposite. He's trending upwards. So I think that'd be a good arm for the playoffs. So I think I'd probably rather go with Maeda than Duffy.
Yeah,
and someone says he's making like $15 million.
Yeah, here's my thing with Duffy. I guess I didn't know he was making $15 million. Here's my thing with Duffy though is like recently he's struggled to go 5 innings, and that is absolutely not what we need. We need guys who struggle to go 7, not struggle to go 5. That's my opinion on it. I mean, yeah, the numbers, they prove Danny Duffy's having a good year, but he's just, I don't know if he's what we need right now.
Yeah. Another couple comments. Okay, someone says we should get Sandy Alcantara. If Chase was here, he'd highlight your comment for sure. Chase loves Alcantara.
I'd love that too.
Yeah, I know he's a good, and he's a guy like you're just talking about the innings.
Mm-hmm.
He's like top 5 in the league, so he's a guy that could really help in that department. Paul says I'll be happy when we have a healthy Pomeranz and Strahm back in the bullpen. Yes, I will be very happy when that's the case. Problem is, I am very concerned about Palm always because it's like him and Lamet are the two guys where it's like, all right, any moment they can just go down with forearm tightness, and you don't know how severe it's going to be. So that's really scary from them. Brian Reynolds could be a good outfielder pickup for Slam Diego. Brian Reynolds could be a good outfield pick for anyone. He's a monster.
Uh-huh.
That was McConnell. That's a guy that you guys should have gone after.
Oh, definitely. I didn't even think of that.
That would have been the future outfielder, take over Azuna's spot. Just kind of, I don't know how much. I don't know what the Braves farm looks like, but it would be pretty tough.
The Braves farm is nothing special in the outfield, as far as I know, considering all the guys they've plugged in over the last 2 years trying to replace different injuries and everything from, Pache to, the guys they got in there right now, Almonte and Heredia. So, I don't think it's anything amazing. So that would have been a great move.
I completely forgot about Christian Pache, and I think I said earlier that Acuna was a center fielder. He's a right fielder. I'm sorry. Christian Pache is in center field, now that I remember. I see this comment about Gallo. I think I kind of touched up on it a little bit earlier. I'm not a huge advocate for getting Gallo right now because of the pitching needs of the Padres. And that, I did see your comment earlier about how the Rangers are going to be asking for a lot. I'm not willing to give up a lot.
I think that's where it'll be hard. That's like the questions about of a Gallo trade. Even though I will say this, I don't like. What are the Rangers doing holding on to Gallo?
Yeah, for literally no reason.
That's what I don't understand.
No reason.
Like, why do teams hold on to guys when, like, at least McConnell, at least the Braves are only 4 games out, but like the Rangers just aren't going to contend for the next 2 years, and they're not going to re-sign Gallo. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's the case. So I just don't get it. Like, oh, we're gonna hang on to Gallo. Why?
Yeah,
why? There's no reason.
What for? Ticket sales?
What was that?
Ticket sales? Oh, that's just dumb.
I don't know. Gallo probably just been watching the Padres just smoke his team. Just fingers crossed that he's leaving.
I think they were banking on the home run derby. And
yes,
and he was like, "Nah, trade me."
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think that I would like to see Gallo in a Padres uniform. Definitely understand being concerned about the price though. Like that's and I think everyone will be. That's why it's like, oh, Gallo on the Padres, like that's a sweet fit in my opinion. You talk about how and you look at like what the Padres have tried to instill in their team is like really patient approaches, see a lot of pitches, Yes, they strike out a lot, but they walk a lot and they hit a lot of bombs. Like that's what they're trying to develop. That's literally Gallo in a nutshell right there. Like extreme physical tools. So I mean, I definitely like it, but it's concerning because you don't know how much it's going to cost. All right, final comment I'm going to bring up before we do our kind of series predictions. If this series even happens, who knows? He says, bro, every time we say Hosmer sucks, he gets hot. Yes. We've known this. And we started this show not this year, but we started the year before, right before last season began. Every time we've been like, man, this Hosmer contract is so terrible. And this is only on air, by the way. Like if we go on air and we're like, he has been atrocious. Swear to God, next week he hits 400 every single time.
Yes, every single time. It never fails.
So I hope it happens. I hope, right before the playoffs, we're going to have to slander that last week of September, first week of August. We're going to have to slander Hosmer so hard because we need him to show up in the playoffs.
In the postseason, we're going ham on him.
So yeah, that just has to happen. McConaughey's heard a lot of my Hosmer slander, so he knows that as well.
I can't believe you would slander Hosgod like that. he hears the negative prayers and he just channels it into being a better player. And he's just unbeatable.
I don't know that one. So final kind of expectations for this series. I would be happy if the Padres take 2 out of 3. I wouldn't expect, like a blowout series from either way. I think the Braves might be a little bit overlooked just because the Acuna injury just happened, but they're still a solid squad. I think the game you have to win is Tuesday. According to McConaughey scouting report, that should be a winnable game. Don't really care who the Padres are throwing in that one. I think the hardest one to win is probably Wednesday, especially if Paddock's on the mound, because that has been terrifying recently. So that's kind of where I'm at with this series. But McConaughey, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm really interested in this series because it's very difficult to figure out how good the Braves really are. I mean, they were kind of just getting hot. Then Acuna goes down. They've got new players, and it's like if they're, they played a lot better than I expected against the Rays. I thought they'd lose that series. They were able to win that series, and now you're going against the Padres, one of the best teams in baseball, and it's like, they could go out there and could see Jock get hot. You could see, Freddie start playing well, or continue to play well. And if they could win this series, then it's like, okay, they can really push for the playoffs, especially with the Mets having some issues. But, the Mets are in a series with the Pirates, so that never helps when you're trying to chase a team. But, overall, I think it's just something that I'm happy whether or not they lose the series because I'll just get to know where they're at for the rest of the year. I think the biggest game to win is Wednesday. If they don't win Wednesday, that's going to be rough because Charlie Morton is definitely the best pitcher that they got going out, and they're going against Paddock. So it's kind of a wombo combo right there of good things that should go your way. So hopefully we see them play well, but if they don't, then it's just not to be this year because it's just such a wild year for them with all the things that have happened.
Yeah, so just an update for everyone in the chat. The game got pushed back to 4:20 right now. So when it comes to this series, I fully expect us to go out there and win this series. I think I don't know who I'm going to pick as my guy, though, because I'm kind of torn. I don't want to pick Tatis because we all expect Tatis to go crazy. So I kind of want to pick either Machado or Cronenworth. But, I'm kind of torn because I want Grisham to ball out, too. So I think I'm going to go with Manny Machado. He's easily, probably the second or third hottest bat in the lineup right now, maybe even the hottest bat in the lineup. Plays absolutely amazing defense, game in and game out. So I expect Manny out of the cleanup spot to go out there, give us a lot of RBIs, provide a lot of run support for these pitchers that have mightily struggled these past 10, 15 games, whatever it is. So my guy's going to be Manny Machado. I expect us to go out there, win this series. I hope Yu Darvish goes out there and provides another quality start since his last quality start. But that's pretty much all I got in this series. I'm excited to watch. I haven't seen the Braves in a really long time, except for at least against the Padres, because I do watch Ronald Acuna. I'm excited to see Freddie Free, Ozzy Albies. I remember I was a pretty big fan of Dansby Swanson when he was coming into the league, so I'm excited to see what they got.
Not a team that the Padres get to match up against that much, so really cool to see that. Unfortunate that the Braves have had as many injuries as they've had. And hopefully the games happen because it is concerning. Fingers crossed that it goes down. Also, you brought up we don't, not get to bring up Tatis. We are going to be having a Tatis segment out tomorrow. I think it's going to be a pretty exciting one. I guess I said like 2-1 is what I'm hoping for. And I think my go-to guy for this episode is going to be Eric Hosmer.
Whoa, what?
I think this is the first time he's ever been brought up as a go-to guy. But Hosmer has been hot at the plate lately. They brought up that he has changed his approach. And I would say that me, Isaac, and Chase, our biggest reason why we'll just kind of crap on Hosmer is that he there's quotes of him being like, I'm not going to change my approach. If I lose my playing time, I lose my playing time. And that has definitely been the thing that we've criticized him the most about. If he is changing his approach, that is a huge deal for me. And I won't slander him as much until the playoffs when we really need him to step it up most, because I won't forget that.
We need to make something interesting. We need to do something interesting. We need to make a wager, okay? Not a monetary wager. If the Padres win this series with Hosgod as your guy, you have to refer to him for the next week as strictly Hosgod. Strictly Hosgod.
So what does he have? What does that entail? The Padres win and he's balling out, like he has some big moments or something?
Yes. Yeah. He plays well, and if they don't, you can pick my punishment, kind of whatever you want me to do. I just need to hear you hype up Hosgod for the next week.
Yeah, we're gonna get on bad Padres takes calling him Hosgod.
Props to you for picking Hosmer, man. Props.
Yeah, I think that might be the first and last time I ever do that. But all right, everyone, I think that's getting it for today's episode. We'll have McConnell come back on when we kind of recap the series, if it occurs. Hopefully it does. Hopefully the rain is in other parts of Georgia. I don't think that's the case at all, but I really hope that is what's going down. But yeah, we'll talk to you guys very soon.